Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let me see who was here first. Lydia Washington, you were here first. There are no prizes, but thank you so much for being the first. Brenda Lawler, Carolyn Teal, Lorna Williams, and a host of others. Okay, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the very last person to enter the live chat. Hey, Black Queen. Dorian Joseph, there you go. Okay, so Veronica Quick. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? Hey, Jessica Foreman, Beverly McCaskill, Sharon Middleton. All right. So without any, why did I do that? Okay, let me put that back. And I slept all day. It rained so much last night, and Arthur was messing with me pretty bad. And by the time I did get to sleep, well, you guys saw me posting at some very odd hours, so you know. But I was having one of those creative moments when I just could not stop. And anyway, so that, of course, as they say, is enough for all that who shot John. The important thing is that we're all together now. 10 months? 10 months? Shut the front door. Oh, no, not 10 months. You got 1 month, 10. Okay, thank you so much for your membership. Thank you for supporting Royal Sussex. And thank everyone that support Royal Sussex. Is it 10 months or is it 10? Am I looking at that right? 10, the 10-month membership. Wait, no, it's only 1 month, right? Is it me? Maybe I need to go back to sleep. Whatever. Again, that's enough for all that who shot John. The important thing is that we're all here. And happy Monday to you all. I'm telling you, I was sleeping for the old and the new. I couldn't believe it. I said, well, I'm going to lay back down. And I did. And it was even later than it already was. So I must have needed it, right? I must have needed it. Um, so let's see. Since I have my beauty sleep, I guess I can continue. But again, as I explained yesterday, the Who Shot John is one of those colorful colloquiums that a long and involved explanation, a thing of which an explanation would be long and involved. In other words, it don't take all that. Just get to the point. Oh, man. Do you guys remember that from the movie Soul Food? When the girls were arguing, the sisters, and Big Mama says, all right, now that's enough of all that who shot John. They were talking about the past. Big Mama, you were there. You remember, right? All right, now that's enough of all that who shot John. Oh, you've been having visits from Arthur, too. Yeah, Arthur don't play. Arthur gets all up in the neck and the shoulder blades, and then it runs down the back. And just when you think it's over with, it might sneak down to your knee. That's Arthur. His first name is Arthur, last name Ritus. Arthuritis. Okay, so anyway, but the storms have passed and the sun is shining and it's a new day. So let's move on. All right, let me see. Oh, let me take my face away from here now that I know you guys can hear me. Did you guys know that this is kind of a holiday and you should celebrate, especially if you've ever had one of those interactions in the workplace where they said your hair was not corporate, which is code for you need to straighten your hair. Well, right here, July 3rd, Black Hair Independence Day. July 3rd marks National Crown Day, or Black Hair Independence Day, celebrating the signing of the Crown Act of 2019. In 2019, the Crown Act legislation bans discrimination based on how you wear your hair. Crown stands for Create a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. Ooh, that's a stretch, ain't it? Well, anyway, that's what they say it means. They call it the Crown Act. What is that, an acronym? That means create a respectful and open world for natural hair. So happy Crown Day. Yes, we wear the crowns. Well, it was a necessary act because in so many spaces that are occupied by people of different races and cultures and backgrounds, you could imagine that it would be problematic for someone who decides to show up for work with cornrows in a corporate atmosphere. I mean, pick any Fortune 500 company, and you know exactly what I mean. And even Michelle Obama, who we all love and adore so much, when she was in the White House, I don't think she braided her hair that often because it wasn't that she couldn't, it wasn't that she just wouldn't. But the thing is, we know how it is. It becomes a distraction. It's racist and it's a distraction, and it would start a conversation that could take funding away from something very important. As ridiculous as that sounds, you know what I'm saying is true. So, with this act, I guess you could just say is the more people see people wearing their hair in a variety of styles and such, they will be less apt to try to make an issue of it and less apt to try to cause a person their position or make them feel uncomfortable or other. It's amazing how once something is mandated by the law, how people tend to just kind of fall behind it. Of course, you're always going to have people that want to try to circumvent the law, but once it has been enshrined into law, I believe that it makes a difference. That's why you should always vote and always speak out for things that you believe in, because once it becomes a law of the land, the law is what the law is, and it tends to change things. So that's why some of our ancestors worked so hard to get those anti-lynching laws, because it seems like it should, that's that's killing a person. You shouldn't be able to do that. But it was necessary to have laws in place. As we know, it has never completely stopped, but it has made sure that certain people have gone to jail, that otherwise they probably wouldn't have even had to even give it a second thought. So that's why this is so important. It's the little things like this that can turn into something much broader. So glad we're having a conversation, and take a look there. The Crown Act creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. There it is on that beautiful mural, wherever it is. But I'm guessing it may have been California, but not necessarily. And I'm going to tell you why. What's that? Sonia Johnson says, I can't imagine there needed to be a Crown Act, but again, we don't run things in the boardrooms or in the offices or even some schools where teachers have cut off children's hair. You know, Sonia, thank you. Thank you so much for that, because that has happened. You guys, I remember a few years ago where this child who appeared to be of mixed race, he had dreadlocks. And before he can start an event wrestling, he was a wrestler, they said, and this was like, I think like the championship wrestling. So he made it all that way, and they made him cut his hair before he can compete. They made him cut his hair before he can compete. Now, if you're doing any competitive sports, you need to have your mind in a certain place. How does it feel to have your identity snipped away before you compete in an athletic event like that? And they did that to humiliate their child. They wanted to other him before the competition started. And not that it matters, but I would be interested to know what the other child thought about it, because adults tend to make up these rules as they go along, especially when it has to do with race. And it's interesting that with the young people, it's just like, I don't get it. Black or white, I don't get it. So, yeah, thank you for reminding me about that situation, among others. But it has happened quite a few times where a child's hair has been cut off or tapered before an event or before they could participate in something that, obviously the powers that be thought, oh my goodness, you can't compete. Your hair is not correct. And then sometimes they'll make these rules with the idea of excluding Black children. Yeah, it is a particular type of evil. So, yes, this law, this act was definitely needed. So, take a look here. Already, let me see. Wait a minute. I can't see what's up there at the top. Let me pull that down. Okay. On July 3rd, 2019, California became the first state to sign the Crown Act into law. Today, 23 states and 50 municipalities have enacted the Crown Act or laws inspired by the Crown Act to end race based hair discrimination. Now, some of y'all, this may be the first time you've ever heard of something like this. And then some of you all who haven't be like, I'm not surprised. Well, as you can see, the map, it started over there in 2019, and it appears as though Dove is one of the sponsors. And I really do like the stuff that Dove sponsors, like, what is it? When it comes to like body image, Dove has been on the forefront of making sure that people feel included rather than excluded. So there on the right, you can see today 23 states and 50 municipalities have signed the Crown Act or legislation inspired by the Crown Act. Magnificent. They get a bell for that. They get a bell for that. The Crown Act. Don't forget it. The unnecessary law that is super, super necessary. You would think that we were already protected from discrimination like this, but apparently not. Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer, you made it. Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer, you made it. All right. I mean, this has been a very empty Royal Sussex without Connie Balmer. Oh man. Okay. So, happy Crown Act Day. Not really a holiday, but um, it should be. It should be. Okay. So let me continue here. Take a look there. Take a look at those crowns. Can you believe those prices? If we only had a time machine. Valmore brings you latest Afro styles. Where's Church Nellie? Because I bet you Church Nellie still got a couple of these in the back of her closet. I have a feeling Church Nellie probably got a couple of them with the tags on it still. Look at that. Pretty baby, cool, careless afro. Ain't that something? You could have an afro for just $8.88. Or Afro American. How about freedom style something something? And the honeybee shag, the honeybee Afro shag. What is a honeybee Afro shag? And then there's a capless Afro. Come on. And how about them bubble pins? Huh? Huh? What about them bubbles? And then they even have a men's Afro. Look at there. They have a men's Afro. So nobody has to be left out. Listen, I understood the assignment. When they said it was the Crown Act Day, I decided to go with it. Beverly says, "This is the first time I've heard about this. I wish someone would tell me how to wear my hair. I wish someone would tell me how to wear my hair. Biggest lawsuit ever." That's right. Well, you guys, this has been a thing. And oh, let me see who said that. Anyway, Sonia Johnson pointed it out that, that some people have had their hair cut off. They have coerced people into losing their dreads so that they can compete or whatever. So it is a thing. It is a thing. It seems so personal and intimate, but it is. And take a look here. Black is beautiful. And you don't need all of that, this and that, and such to let your natural beauty show. So these are, I don't know who the photographer was for this, but I thought they were really nice. So there you go. I remember, I'm old enough to remember the Black is Beautiful campaign. And I even have one of those Black is Beautiful buttons from back in the day. And, those campaigns may seem kind of corny in modern times, but I believe that it made a huge difference when it came to the self esteem of the young people like myself back in the day. Black is beautiful. And take a look here. I matched these two up. Take a look on the right. You can see that very modern depiction of black hair. And take a look at this old painting. These are so rare because you just don't see these often. Reportedly titled Still Life with Peaches and Lemon by, is that Jurian von Schreck? 1632 to 1687, that artist lived. The presence of a woman suggested that the origin title, quite different, has still life painting do not normally include a human subject. Yeah, still life is like a fruit, a wine bottle, or whatever. The look and quality of this woman's clothing suggests that she was not a servant. In other words, this was a woman of character, a woman of note, because of the beautiful clothes that she's wearing. But it's amazing that her hair is not covered. Usually, in a lot of those old paintings, they would cover the hair with a turban or something like that. But here she's depicted with her natural hair, which I think is extraordinary. So, very cool painting. And if you guys remember this from Black History Month, in honor of Black History Month, don't forget to hold them ears, sis. Don't forget to hold them ears. You better hold them ears, girl. Otherwise, you're going to be walking around with them little black spots on your ears. Big Mama says, Baron, do you still have your Afro pick? I do. Of course, with the little fist at the end and the peace sign. Absolutely, I still have. I have that one, and I have this white one, which doesn't have any like embellishments. And then I still have this comb from the 1970s. It's blue as plastic, and it's like one of them natural combs, the real big ones. I still have that around here somewhere. Yeah, you'll be amazed at things that I have hung on to for quite some time and have moved several times in my life and take all that stuff with me every time I go. But yeah, Big Mama, you got to hang on to those Afro picks because you just never know. You never know. Marcy Foreman says, "Bear, my mom's voice is just the grease. What is it? Voice? It's just the grease. I didn't burn you. Oh, okay. Girl, hold still. It's just the grease. I didn't burn you." Oh man, there's nothing like the smell of that hot comb, that pressing comb. But you know what? It's better for your hair than the chemicals. And as we have found out about the chemicals, I think a lot of people ought to go back to using the hot comb. You just put it on the eye of the stove, you let it heat up, and just remember, hold them ears. Oh man, I tell you, the conversations we have on Royal Sussex. Now, not being left out, of course, we can't forget a real soul sister on the Crown Act Day. Okay, we cannot forget her. I know. Oh yes, yes. It's young Ruthermere at the bottom of the first pick with the kinky curls. That's right. We cannot forget Lord Nappyhead on a day like today, right? Thank you so much for that, Black Queen. We should never leave out that misguided mixed race aristocrat who seems to hate his own people, right? We can't forget him on the Crown Act Day. He never allows his hair to grow out fully. I wonder why. But we can't forget him. I'm telling you, somewhere down through history, him and Trevor Noah has a common ancestor. There is a common ancestor somewhere, and we should remind him from where he comes from. Church Nellie says that plastic comb that you got hit with when you complain that detangling hurts. Ouch. That's right. Those combs had a dual purpose. One purpose was to try to get through your hair. The other purpose was to straighten you out if you complain about it. That is true. I love the story when Megan said her grandmother said to hang on to the sink so she could try to comb that hair out. That was one of my favorite parts of Archetype was Mariah Carey and Duchess Megan discussing their hair care. Well, Mariah's hair is very thin, and Megan, she said when she tried to crimp her hair like was it Andy McDowell? She said she looked like Krusty the Clown. Oh man, I love that one, Krusty the Clown. Now that was funny. Anyway, thank you so much for that, Black Queen. Okay, what a fun topic, right? Let me see here. So yeah, Afro Annie did not want to be let out of it today. And let's see, where was there's Trevor No I mean Lord Nappyhead down there in case you guys missed it. The little gentleman hidden down in the corner of that advertisement, that is Lord Ruthermere, also known as Lord Nappyhead. It would take him to hide down in the corner somewhere. Oh man. Okay. So you guys, on a more serious note, all hell is breaking loose. Now, I love Dr. Shola. Not only is she absolutely beautiful, look at that beautiful complexion. Look at that. It's like a fine piece of chocolate. I mean, I always feel like I can just bite into her cheek. Being of a beautiful dark brown complexion doesn't begin to encapsulate who I am. And that is a quote from Dr. Shola. Well, take a look here. Here's Dr. Shola. I think that photo on the right was her preparing for yet another combative interview on Good Morning Britain. White supremacy and ideology of whiteness is the norm, not the exception in Britain. It emboldens death threats against black voices like me. Um, well, they have sunk to a new low. Take a look at this. The state of these replies, these are the nice ones. It's not satire, parody, or whatever you want to camouflage it as. Um, it's not the first time this account has faked articles in my name and others. Yet the lies are spreading like wildfire over Twitter and then screenshots to other platforms. Um, this I'll show you in just a second, but um, this is the screenshots that she's talking about. I fully support the looting in France by disenfranchised black youth. Call it reparations, Dr. Shola. Dr. Shola did not say that. That is not a quote from Dr. Shola. That is not an article from Dr. Shola. And if you look on the right side, is if only the account holder of Grand, uh, I think it's supposed to look like Guardian meme. That's what it's supposed to be, but it's not Guardian. Is I can't pronounce it, but anyway, is Graniad. But if you look at the letter G that they use for their profile pic, it looks like the Guardian. At a glance, you think you're looking at the Guardian, but you're not. So, whose ever account that is, they have, according to Dr. Shola, I'm assuming that that's where it originates from, according to Dr. Shola, they have decided to hoodwink people into believing Dr. Shola actually wrote this article for The Guardian. So she says, if only the account holder of whatever that is had the courage of their conviction. Let me go back. Let's see. That's what I didn't mean to switch yet. To tweet in their real name and identity, I do 24/7. But cowards, huh? The fact they have to make things up means they can't fight the thing I've actually said. When you grow a spine, face me. So this is what it looks like. It looks like a real Guardian story, but it's not. They created this and put Dr. Shola's name and photo on it. I fully support the looting in France by disenfranchised black youth. Call it reparations. Now that is a big lie. But if you take a look on the left side, Colin, you're an unintelligent excuse for a journalist not doing any due diligence to evidence. If I actually wrote this fake headline is bad enough, but weaponizing the loss of bereaved families for likes is sick. Don't make me, don't make me make time for you today. And so if you look beneath that, Colin had wrote, looting and rioting are not an act of economic rebalancing. If you believe that, explain your thinking to the parents of the 24-year-old firefighter killed in Paris last night. So he retweeted this. This is a reporter, this Colin Brazier. He retweeted this, assuming that it was a real Dr. Shola article in The Guardian. It's not real. You cannot go to The Guardian and find this. If he had actually done due diligence, then he would know that. But he didn't. He took a salacious headline and he could not wait to regurgitate this lie. Dr. Shola did not write that article. The article does not exist. That's Dr. Shola, someone who has more education in her pinky than most of those hate mongers have anywhere in their bodies, and yet they were willing to either perpetuate the lie or dumb enough to believe that it was a true article. And Dr. Shola says here, go on and prove I said or wrote this and let the world see you for the lunatic you are. For your information, I'm not a Guardian journalist, dumbass. So right there, you can see this Nathan person. This is what trash the Guardian journalists publish. So this vile race baiter Shola thinks it's acceptable to use violence, smash up people's business, and loot. She keeps using the past slavery as a reason to destroy a country they live in. These people are complete lunatics. So again, somebody else retweets an article that does not exist. You would think that a journalist would actually go and read the article just to make sure that something like this was in proper context, right? You would want to have it in proper context. You should say to yourself, as an educated person, as a reporter, as a journalist, or just a human being, you should say to yourself, wow, that must be one of those things where you have to really put it into proper context. No, it's enough to incite hatred of Dr. Shola, and that is enough. That is enough. That is the whole point of it, is to incite some type of hatred toward Dr. Shola, and they're good. They're comfortable with that. I mean, I was just like, well, let me just go ahead and take a look for it on the Guardian. It does not exist, and this has been going on, I think, for about, I don't know, 17 hours or more. Yeah. So this is what Dr. Shola had to face yesterday. And as sad as it sounds, I'm sure this is not the worst. I think someone sticking a hate letter through your letterbox is probably the worst. But that person took the time to actually go to her home. But in this instance, you have people who should know better pretty much doing the same, inciting hate. Rohini says, why did I join the chat? Only to be traumatized by memories of ah, oh, okay. Let me scroll. I'm still stuck way back there. Let me scroll this thing. Okay. Let me catch up to where you guys are. Okay. Let me continue then. So, by the way, this Paul, let me see. Yeah, right. Check this out. Now, this is what's so worrisome about all of this stuff going on in France. It's enough that property is being lost, even worse, that lives are being lost, but it has become a feeding frenzy for anyone on the right wing to use it to justify things like Brexit or voting for Trump. Check this out. Here we have Britain's first leader, Paul Gooding, getting angry about immigrants pushing cars off buildings in France while sharing what is actually a scene from The Fate of the Furious, the eighth movie in the series. That did not happen. That is a screenshot from the Fast and Furious franchise. And this Paul Golding decided to retweet it to use it as a talking point to justify some of the right wing propaganda against others. All weekend, I was looking at this person retweeting things about France and how, oh, you let immigrants in, they'll destroy your country. And of course, nobody is taking this lying down, especially people of color. This one person said, well, if you think that France looks bad, wait until you learn about what the French have done to Africa. So the North Africans, the Sub-Saharan Africans, and anybody else who comes from one of the old French colonies or anywhere in Africa, some of these people have been in France for 3 and 4 generations and still are being mistreated by the authorities. And what complicates things is that in France, it is, I think, against the Constitution or against the law to even have the government do any type of counts based on race or religion or ethnicity or anything like that. Whereas in the United States, we are obsessed with how many Black people are being mistreated. We're obsessed with how many Spanish speaking Latino people are being mistreated or how many Asian people are being mistreated. We are obsessed with that. In other countries, that's not always the case. And France is one of them where it goes against the very tenets of the French law to even make note. Although the way around that is to pay attention to the name or to figure out what postal code a person is from. If you're from the peripherique, beyond the peripherique, then that is a good indication that you may not be a certain type of person and you may get treated like an other based on your location, your name, your age, etc. So there is a way around it, but there is no official accounting of it. And so when people have been crying out about being mistreated by, let's say, the police or any other authorities, well, it's kind of hard to prove it if there is no official information available. So here on the right thread, it says viral misinformation about the French riots. This video of several cars falling from a multi-story car park is from the set of action film Fast and Furious 8 and unrelated to current French riots. It was filmed in 2016 on Prospect Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the building. That's not France. This is Cleveland, Ohio. Do you know how far away from France that is? It has nothing to do with the riots. And this is just one thing that is being used as fodder for the right wing. Beverly says this Paul G and all others that are retweeting this trash should have their channels shut down. People are getting real stupid and dumb. Yeah, it's so true. It is so true. They are really making the most of it. It's already bad enough that it's happening. The grandmother of the young man that was assassinated by the police, she said, please stop. You're burning your own neighborhood. Boy, that sounds familiar. You're burning the buses. We take buses. You please stop doing what you're doing. And it makes sense because there's a lot of people that are using this as a means to loot and burn and destroy. It's true. And the same thing happened during the George Floyd time and so many other events. It becomes an excuse. Social media is also a factor because it helps these um, evildoers coordinate things. Yes, for some people, they're using their voices, and for other people, it is an excuse. Um, but let's go to the root of it. They shouldn't have shot that kid. I saw the video. They should not have shot that kid. Um, the kid was not armed. They were not in danger of the kid running over them. And yes, they did pass some law saying that the police have a right to do that. But we know that law is about someone who's about to commit an act of terror, not someone who's underage and driving away from the police. but they have othered that poor child so bad, and other people like him, that they're fed up. And this is not just restricted to France. I remember some years ago when they burned down that big furniture store. Was it in London? Wasn't there a couple of cities in the UK burning? And it wasn't just black kids. It wasn't just Arab kids on the street. I saw plenty white kids out there looting those stores. But the story that comes back is that it's only people of color that's doing it. That is not the case. There are plenty of people out there that are taking advantage of the situation, whether it's in France, whether it's in the UK, or any place else where you have civil unrest. But at the very root of it is a system that claims to not disenfranchise people. It's a system that pretends like we all have equal protection under the law, and that's just not the case. So don't be surprised if people, oh, you know what? Thank you, VS. That is, you got a bell for that. Crisis actors be involved in that rioting. VS, I've seen that play out before myself. I've seen that play out. I mean, I literally seen it. Um, they were taunting the police, these young kids, and let me just say this: what none of them black. These young kids were taunting the police, throwing things at the police, begging the police to come after them. Some of you guys, this will be the first time you've ever heard this, but I'm going to tell you what happens. These are people that are anarchists. They just want civil unrest at any cost. And yes, there are some of them that are black. There are some of them that are all other races, but mostly they're young white kids. They will go dressed in layers. I don't care how hot it is. They usually all wear black. And what they do is they try to provoke the police, throwing debris and stuff at them. And then once the police charge them, they try to disappear into the crowd. And what they will do is rip away the top layer of their clothes, their shirts, usually, their jackets, and they'll have like a bright different colors on underneath. That is to create confusion. And if that is not enough, some of them actually bring fake blood to smear so that they can cause a panic and get the entire crowd involved. So listen to VS. VS knows what she's talking about. It is a real thing. And I have no doubt, and you would be amazed at how far some of those people will travel across the country to be involved in any type of situation like that. So it's not always just the local people. And some of them, they're not looting, they're just burning. They just want to see things burn. Let's see. Roseanne Campbell says it was in 2011 and the furniture store was burnt down in Creighton, London. And yes, plenty of white people were involved in burning and looting as well. Yes, Roseanne, I'm a history buff. And when certain things happen, I make a mental note of it because I know what they were reporting, but and it was on TV. I know what I'm saying. I'm like, those are white kids. It wasn't just black kids, there was white kids too. I know what I saw. I didn't even have to be there. I know what I saw. They were, they were very visible. And not everybody was hiding their faces. So yeah. But by the time it filters down to the evening news, they make it seem as though it was only the minorities. That's not the case. So yeah, that is what Dr. Shola is up against. So you guys, please pray for Dr. Shola. If you happen to be on social media and you see something about it, just set the record straight. Don't make it personal. Don't threaten anybody. Just set the record straight. because unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who just want to believe the worst of anybody, and in particular, Dr. Shola. So, but yeah, Dr. Shola is under attack. And this right here, viral misinformation about French riots. This video from several cars falling from multi-story car park is from the set. Well, that's a repeat. 2016. And not only Dr. Shola seems to have been targeted. Check this out. Christopher Bosey's Spotify. Not only did Twitter suspend Spotify account, but they also suspended the Bot Sentinel account. So because Bot Sentinel, and if you guys haven't signed up, Bot Sentinel, it is free, and it is mostly free of some of the nonsense that we get on Twitter. Um, Obviously, Christopher is hitting the target because now Bot Sentinel is being seen as a bit of competition, and of course, with the I'm sorry, not Bot Sentinel, but Spotify. I'm Spoutable is being seen as competition to the Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, take a look here. Um, South Africa's answer to Kim Jong Un, Elon Musk, separated at birth. He is still, and also listen, if there is a movie, if they do make a movie about Elon Musk, I want to start a writing campaign to get Kathy Bates to play Elon Musk. Kathy Bates or Kim Jong Un. Either one of them could comfortably fit into the role of Elon Musk. Although I don't think either one of them is arrogant enough to pull it off. Well, you know what? Kim Jong Un, maybe. Hey, Anastasia. Let's see. Dr. Shola, Deborah Reynolds says Dr. Shola is for right, and she is covered and protected by the Most High. Great podcast as always, Baron. Thank you so much, Deborah Reynolds. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. VS says, I didn't know what was happening with Shola, but I knew the one thing I read is not how she moves. It took me a minute, VS. I was like, wait a minute. And because I have so much confidence in Dr. Shola, I said, well, even if that headline is true, then this must be something that needs to be put in proper context. Although it did seem odd, but that's why I said I was looking for the article so I could make sense out of what I was seeing. And it turns out it was no article. I'm like, oh, okay. Now that makes sense that she didn't write that and that someone else is trying to um, incite hatred toward her. And so, yeah, and now it all comes into view for me. So, yeah, I mean, it's like whatever, I would have to make sure that I have it in context. I don't like to snap to judgment about anybody or anything. And I can be very slow and deliberate, much to the dismay of some people, but I don't usually just go with the first thing I see. So I'm just like, well, there must be some context. Well, there is no context because it does not exist. Okay. Marshall says, Baron, just like the insurrection, you really didn't see black faces in that crowd. That's one thing black folks wouldn't do, storm the Capitol. Yeah, there was, I think there was a couple of nerds there. I mean, some of those MAGA nerds, just a couple of them, but the vast majority of the people there were white. But I do remember seeing this one black MAGA person. Oh God, I can't even believe I have to put the two of those things together in my head. Black and MAGA. Oh well. Oh, It's just like at the border. I see so many people on one side of the border that look so much like people on the other side of the border. And I'm like, are you really that outraged that they want the same thing that your ancestors wanted? But the thing is, if we, well, I'm not even going to start with the border thing because that is taking on a life of its own. But a lot of these things is just a bunch of fear mongering. They love to say the hordes at the border. And I'm really heartbroken that so many people here in the US, they have incited so much anxiety and so much hostility toward other people from other countries that, even people close to me are like, well, why do we have to help them? Because they're here. I don't think we're going to put a sniper's nest at the border. I don't think you want the government shooting people at the border. So, how about we use some of that money that we're trying to help over in, I don't know, Ukraine? Why don't we use some of that same urgency to help some of those countries south of the border? If we do that, then there wouldn't be such a great need to come north. A lot of those people don't want to leave home. They have to. And if it was for my survival, I would too. I'd have to take my chances. But to mistreat them after they get here, oh my God, that's outrageous. I don't like it because it that could be any of us. We're just lucky, most of us, to be born where we are. Just luck. That could have been any of us. Okay, let me continue here. And there is Elon Musk doing the world a solid, according to him. He's destroying Twitter. This man spent, what, $48 billion to destroy something that wasn't broken in the first place. He really is a wrecking ball. He is taking a wrecking ball to Twitter, and he's doing a very, very good job of it. So far, I haven't noticed anything, but that may change. B. Martin, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Thank you, Black Queen. Yeah, I just, it bothers me that people are, I'm just like, would you really want them to mow down women, children, men at the border just so that, and if you look at Canada, where they have pretty much opened things up, and I think they said, what is it, one out of four people in Canada are immigrants now. The economy is booming. Except for the United States, the post um, pandemic economy in Canada is the best out of the G8 or G7 countries because they're betting on the immigrants. Instead of betting against them, they're giving them opportunities. I, with all we have here, I just don't see how we could possibly go wrong. They're here. They're not going back home. They're here. So help them. Oh, I have a sound bite for you guys. Please do not break your electronic device. Please do not break it because this woman will trigger you. Um, but I just want you to take note of something. Take a look at her. Now, all of these incredible talking points she has, she spends most of her time with her eyes down on her notes. The poor thing is probably suffering from short term memory loss or maybe long term memory loss, but the poor thing cannot really speak with authority. So she's using notes. And it's almost embarrassing how much she referenced her notes again and again and again. So I'll let you hear it. Again, do not break your electronic device. She will trigger you. Okay. All right. Let me get this set up here. Uh-oh.
Name them. Awful lot wrong to our name one that requires this level of treatment. To our name family. Them. Name them. Awful lot wrong to our name one. Read the papers. No, I won't read the papers. You name one. You're in defence of it, so name one. I'm in defence of it because I personally think that the woman is manipulative. On what basis? Do you have an act that she has done that's been manipulative that you can recall? The very acts and the things that she said, she has been proven a pathological liar, and it's a proven fact. I don't. And this is my concern. There's nothing ever specific. Not liking somebody. No, it's fine to not like somebody, but it's baseless. You can keep. It's baseless. Hang on. I understand. I do say you're going to get to a stalemate here. Exactly. You don't like her, and you can't see the reasons why she doesn't like her. I'd love anyone to give me any reason why. Is there any? But you do in a sense because you've got to justify. But it's just that the papers have told you that she's a bad person. Is that it? No, I know it was my own personal opinion of when I said. And you keep on about the woman of colour. I can tell you now, and look me straight in the eye. I didn't think she was a woman of colour. I just thought she was an extremely attractive woman. And basically, she got Mexican, Spanish, Puerto Rican. I didn't think she was a woman of colour. I don't think anybody in this country actually even took that in. I thought she was beautiful. She seemed intelligent. I watched the wedding. I thought it was all wonderful. And as I've said before, when she came on with the Fab Four, and I said to my secretary, and I'm repeating this, I know, but I said, this is a breath of fresh air. Do you see me? Do you see me as a black man? Sorry? Do you see me here as a black man? I just think of you as an irritating man. Well, no, but do you see me though? I don't think. Do you see me? Sir? Do you see me here? Do you see me? And you can observe that I have black skin, so you've observed that. What's the point? What's the point? It matters. This is the whole point. You can't say it doesn't matter. It matters. It matters to you because you've kept on and on from the minute we started about bringing in colour, bringing in pride to everything. It matters to the lived experience of real people. When they tell you it matters.
So that was her.
When they tell you it matters, you have a choice to respond or not. So that matters to me. But I don't ask, do you see me? Because I'm old. No, but how can you not see? I can't ignore the fact that you're of a different generation to me. I can't ignore that fact and then speak to you as if it doesn't matter. I don't judge people. I don't judge people by their colour. You dismiss me. But I think you're green. I care what comes out of their mouth, and I don't like what comes out of your mouth. I asked you to quote a thing that came out of her mouth. Is it not? We're raised. When they tell you it matters, you have a choice to respond or not. So that matters to me.
Okay, so that was, and by the way, thank you, Glow, and a few other people on the Twitter who make sure that we see those things that we have no access to here in the U.S. But yeah, so let me see. Why is it always an old white woman? Harry said his first time was with an old white woman. They all wanted Harry. This lady is, I don't know where she comes from. And I think she's one of those people that are just so easily persuaded by anything and everything if it comes from someone she identifies with. And the only good Black people are the ones that agree with the people that she identifies with. I've seen her on here before. She hangs on to those notes for dear life. She has her little talking points, and whatever you say, whatever you ask her, she's going to stay within what's on that paper. So she comes very well prepared. Most of the people that she's on the panel with rarely look at their papers unless there's just one big point they need to make here and there. But for her, everything comes off that paper. And then she goes on and on about how, and she does this every time she's on there. She'll say, Well, I told my secretary when the Fab Four were together that I wagered her this would not turn out well. And she references that story over and over and over again. At the time, I'm pretty sure she didn't actually see them on stage together, but she remembers it through the prism of what she heard looking at all those talk shows and what she's read in the paper. That was the moment. Yeah, that was the moment, but I doubt if she has any real time recollection of it. Like so many other people, she's remembering it through somebody else's accounts, not from her own. And I'm always afraid of people like that. People who will try to remember something, and you know that there's no logical way that they would have either held on to that little bit of information. It's a talking point that has been planted in that very soft head of hers. Very, very sick woman. This is the kind of person that gets people hurt because she is very convincing when she tries to recount something that she never witnessed in the first place, when she believes something that she never took notice of in the first place. But if she hears, like she kept telling him, well, it's in the papers. It's in the papers. So if it's in the papers, it got to be true. It just has to be the truth because it's in the papers. You know, no, I can't say that. I can't say that. But anyway, I'm through with the cat lady. I'm sure she goes home to about 50 cats. Every feral cat in the neighborhood um, calls her flat home. I'm sure of that. Or maybe she has some little garden somewhere, some little pathetic garden filled with cat poop and God knows what else. Let's see. Notice how Jeremy didn't put a horse in that debate. He knew Tina was talking racist crap. Oh, is that her name? And didn't want brother Marvin coming for him. All those races get defensive and rattled when you call them out. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for that, Mashar. Yeah, it was pretty pathetic. Let's see. VS says I saw that clip this morning. My blood was boiling. Never can give examples of why they hate her, and then they go to tabloid talking points. She needs to be locked in a padded room. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Looks like there was a mass shooting in Philadelphia. Uh, I hate to say this, but I'm unless it. Well, I don't know. I just don't have the same jarring response to when I see there's been another mass shooting, and that's really sad. It's so frequent. Another day, another mass shooting. Welcome to America. So sad. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I know I sound crazy, but if it was up to me, I would outlaw firearms. Y'all better not ever let me get to the White House because I would do everything I could to outlaw them. Um, I don't think it makes anything better. And yes, I'm really sympathetic with people who live in rural areas where you really have to defend yourself. I get that, but I don't know how they make anything better. It's you look at some of those videos and you see how quickly a person turns an otherwise, silly situation into a life-ending event. And I wonder how many people keep talking when they should have been walking because they know that they have that thing in their pocket or in their purse or whatever. Wonder how many people do that. Let's see. She's reading from the trash newspaper in Britain. Poor thing hasn't seen or listened to anything from people who are talking truth about what is happening. Yeah, Beverly, that's the most likely thing is that she just reads that stuff and then regurgitates it. But the black gentleman asked her to prove her point about the negative things, and she has to say about Megan, and she could not. She wouldn't back down. Poor thing, she needs to go away. Well, I don't know what her cholesterol is right now, but just wait. Just wait. Uh, I don't know what her cholesterol is. Give it time. Give it time. Um, she said she didn't know she was a person of color, but then said she thought she was Spanish or other race. Don't forget she threw Puerto Rican in there. You know that it's going terribly wrong when somebody has to invoke Puerto Rican. She watched the wedding, so she assumed she was a person of color, not black, and then saw Doria and knew. Absolutely, she probably knew from day one. She and probably watched Suits. She probably watched Suits. She knew from day one. She was. I bet you Megan was okay until she married into that family. I bet you Megan was fine until she married into that family. Thank you, Tashmak. Uh, uh-oh. I'm afraid to look, but let me go back. Uh uh let me see here. Little Max says, but she couldn't even repeat something from the tabloids. So what is the purpose of her notes if she cannot put together a coherent narrative? I wonder. I wonder. Uh She must be a joy to be around. You know what I mean? She must be a real joy to be around. Yes, the fact her biggest part of the argument was, well, read the papers. Just read the papers. It's in the papers. Do you read the papers? Oh yeah, Joy and more. Well, Joy, I'll tell the industry secret. People like this, when they end up in the home, all of those tendencies that they've had throughout their lives, as they get older and become more irrational, they lose their filter completely. And I have been told by people who worked in places like that that it's not unusual for them to just call you the N word like that's your name. You really have to be a patient and godly person to work in that type of industry. And I salute anyone who does because that's where they end up. That's where they end up. And they don't, become nicer. They lose their filter. And suddenly you really get to see them as their families have known them or anybody else in their clan, no pun intended. You really get to know them for who they are. So, um, well, there's so much I want to say about this lady, and I'm trying to hold back, so I'm gonna keep moving. All right. Spare, Prince Harry's Spare is still number one when it comes to nonfiction. Prince Harry owns the number one best-selling nonfiction title so far this year, with more than 1 million print copies of his 400-page memoir Spare sold in the U.S. The read promised a bombshell look at the Spare heir, now fifth in line to the throne, and included revelations that Harry started heavily using drugs at age 17, killed more than 2 dozen enemy combatants in Afghanistan, and that he and his brother asked Father King Charles not to marry his now wife's his Charles not to marry his now the Queen Consort and all the other stuff that's in the book. So um, yes, there's plenty juicy details. There's a lot of positive things in the book. It takes you through a whole range of emotions, which is why the book is so successful. It's very real, well written, and it happens to be Harry's story. So, with all of that, that's why the book is very successful. It's a very fair look. I think Harry's honesty has been used against him, but he has tried to be as fair and as detailed as possible, not making himself out to be a hero, not making himself out to be a saint or a sinner, but just a man who happens to have been born into that institution and everything that goes with it. I can't. Okay. Prince Harry asked for 440,000 pounds damages as phone hacking case ends. If Harry wins, he will have to thank legal precedent set by apprentice chimney sweep 300 years ago. I still don't know what that means, but um, the Royals case against the newspaper publisher ended Friday after a 7-week trial, with Prince asking court to award him more than 440,000 pounds in damages, potentially one of the biggest ever phone hacking settlements. You know, if that was the United States, let me just say this, if that was the United States, it would not have ended with six figures. In the United States, you would get far more money than that. I look at some of the civil cases in the UK and I just shake my head. I'm like, y'all ain't getting enough money. In the US, that would have been far greater. And I tell you what, in the US, you could settle and get maybe 10 times as much as they're offering right there, okay? You could settle and get far more money. Now, this is the standard in the UK, so I don't have anything to say about it where that's concerned because that's how they pay out. But when you hear people in the UK received a settlement, I'm like, well, where's the settlement? That's the legal fees, ain't it? Where's the settlement? That's not enough to cover the anguish and all the other stuff. Where's the settlement? But that is the settlement, not American standards. Let me see. Claudia Blanco says, "Oh, Fox News had to pay 2 million. Prince should have asked for more." I don't think he could have gotten more. Um, when they say a precedent, the precedent set by other cases is one of the big reasons why people don't get as much. So if this is one of the largest, if not the largest settlement ever paid out for phone hacking, doesn't it make you wonder how much did the other people get? The other people must have got like a year's salary in some cases. Even some of the actors, the more famous people. I mean, $440,000. God, I know people who have that for life insurance. I ain't one of them, of course, but I know people who have that for life insurance. I mean, that's just not enough money. That is not enough money. Let me see. Let me see. 479,831 in the United States. Oh, so that is the equivalent, huh? Still not that's not an American civil lawsuit. In the US, them you know what's have to pay. Hey, Harry's not doing it for the money. And if they lose, I think they have to pay for his legal fees as well. So it is what it is. But or maybe not, because I know that they said one of the ways they coerce people into settling is that you still have to pay the legal fee to your lawyer out of that money or something. I don't know, but like I said, that's not U.S. civil case money. I mean, I know people who have worked in factories. Like, what about the lady who worked at Starbucks and she was fired because, that there was a civil suit brought against Starbucks because they called the police on some black men because they were waiting for a friend before they ordered. So they called the police. And so, in response to that, Starbucks fired one of the white managers, who I don't even think was in the store at the time, because they wanted to look like they were doing something or whatever the case may be. Well, she got a settlement of, like, I don't know, was it $25 million from Starbucks? I know she got a lot of money. I mean, it was in the millions. So when you look at a case like that and you look at this case, I'm not impressed. But again, that is the standard when it comes to the UK. I thought it was 30%, but okay. Well, then again, this is not a jury trial either. In the US, a jury will sit there and if Harry was able to bring this into a US court, there would be no Mirror Group or anybody associated with him. Harry would have, he would have cleaned up. Baron, you have to remember that he has 2 more cases coming up, and I think that it is where the big money is going to be asked for. Okay, I'll buy that. But still, this is not American standard money. This is, what is that they say? Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. If he was bringing that lawsuit through a federal court here in the United States, I'm telling you, U.S. pay big money. They pay big money. But, that's the industry standard or whatever. So I'm not going to trip. 33 articles. I mean, just the emotional stress and pain and suffering. Show me the money. I made a short video last night. I'll share it with you right now. It is so cute. It is so cute. I think it's only 2 minutes. I know it's only 2 minutes long, but it is so cute. Wait till you see it. I mean, cute. Cute. And I love this girl. She is like, she has all kind of education. She got all kind of education. Wait till you see. I mean, she's like, she's like what Will and Kate pretend to be, educated. Yeah, but she's for real though. She has a real education. Let me find it. It does something now. I don't see it. Wait, what was the title of it? Oh, Harry something, right? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Well, I can't find it. Oh, don't listen. I know y'all think y'all off the hook, but wait, I found it. I can hear Church Nelly right now. Good. I found it.
Zimbabwean education advocate Varaidzo Kativu says Prince Harry is one of the sweetest people after co-hosting the prestigious Diana Awards 2023 with the Duke of Sussex at the weekend. As a 2-time recipient of the prestigious Diana Award, Varaidzo continues to make a profound impact within the education sector, inspiring countless others to pursue their dreams and make positive changes in society. Varaidzo, serving as co-host alongside Prince Harry, brought her unwavering determination and passion for education to the forefront. Her presence, combined with Prince Harry's, ensured that the voices and achievements of youth advocates were amplified and celebrated throughout the ceremony. It's such a dream to be able to do this with him. He is one of the sweetest people, and I'm truly so excited. We did a great job, if I do say so myself. I feel honored to have my efforts advocating for the access to education for underrepresented or underprivileged groups recognized. Every time things like this happen, it helps give my work a stamp of recognition, which helps me reach more people, and most importantly, to reach those who can help. I'm just so grateful to be able to step into rooms like this and always to bring my full self, she said. The Diana Awards, established in memory of the late Princess Diana, are presented annually to young individuals ages 9 to 25 years old who demonstrate exceptional commitment and dedication to making positive changes in their communities.
Oh, how cute. That was cute. Let's see. Nevers Walter says Barron proves the point that the monarchy is ruling government because colonization is alive and well. The monarchy sets those rules to protect their interests. Thank you so much for that. And that is, I agree, 100. And let's see, Linda Lala, I saw that earlier. You said, okay, whatever it was, I agreed with you. It's the King's Bench. That's what you said. And I agree, right? Okay. Because now I can't find it. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. It's the King's Bench. Absolutely. Speaking of the King's Bench, did you guys see him earlier? He was up in Edinburgh and he had on his kilt with those big childbearing hips of his. Yeah, the King's Bench, all right, because that old lumpy behind his was spread all out in that kilt. So when you said the King's Bench, the first thing I thought about was that big saddlebag, ever expanding childbearing hips bottom of his. Ugh. Oh man. YM Joy says the people who met W said, thanks, bye. Oh, thank you, YM Joy. William was looking pretty rough though. William always, if only somebody, I don't know that there's anything to be done for him. I don't know that there's anything to be done for William, but that grimace that he has on his face is not very warm and welcoming. There must be some. Well, how did this happen to him? How did this happen? It was like one day he had that kind of, that shy kind of look going on, rather precocious and such. It was somewhat attractive. And now, if he don't look like the old man that yells at the kids to get off his grass, even if he lives in an apartment building, I don't know what he looks like. It's just really sad. Yeah. But you know what? It's probably what he deserves for being so negative and nasty all the time. You know what I mean? It's probably what he deserves. Now, back to those childbearing hips that Charles has. Oh, man. Let's see. X-Lax will help. You think that's all is needed is some X-Lax. Oh, man. Let's ship some to KP on behalf of the squad. Uh, yeah, poor William. He does look rather constipated, doesn't he? He looks so constipated, so sad. He used to be such a good-looking kid, and now, ugh, ugh. For whatever reason, today they just decided, well, I am African philanthropist. Today we celebrate Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. Don't give it 5 minutes if you do not give it 5 years. Yeah, not give it 5 years. Yeah. Don't give it 5 minutes if you're not going to give it 5 years. Is that a quote from Megan? I never heard that before. Anyway, they posted that today for some reason. Very nice. And of course, that's the name of the Twitter is philanthropy forum Uganda. Philanthropy. It's a mouthful. Okay. All that sleeping, and I feel like I can just go right back to sleep. Princess Diana would be the only person who could fix Harry and William's rift, as her sons meant the world to her, royal expert claims. Oh, God, another royal expert. Another royal expert. You know why I'm sharing this with you? And by the way, former BBC royal correspondent Jeannie Bond, who met with Diana several times before her death in 1997, told OK Magazine in a clickbait article the late royal was so clearly proud of her two boys. The only reason why I'm sharing this with you is because look whose name they put first. They put Harry first. I get a kick out of that, especially when it's one of those publications that usually tries to kiss Williams behind. I love when they put Harry's name first, and they should, because Harry is the most important and the most popular of the two brothers. He is the hardest working, he is the most loved and appreciated. So in spite of everything that they have thrown at him, to me, it only makes sense that they put his name first. I think it's the natural course of things. Yeah. So there you go. Now, that Bond woman, y'all might remember that name from, remember the one who said that, let me see here. Is that the article? No, it's not. Oh, I'm trying to figure out what did I do with that article. But yeah, she's sometimes she tries to pretend like she's for the Sussexes, but she is definitely a royalist, tried and true. Um, but yeah, she has that face kind of look like a piranha. I'm not seeing the video here though. But yeah, she's nothing nice though. I'll tell you that she is nothing nice. But yeah, she made up that thing about Diana before the coronation to try to help out Camilla. It was ridiculous. But yeah, she was trying to help Camilla out by saying that Camilla would have approved that. So I don't even want to think about what she said. But it was so stupid. It really was stupid. But she tried it. And let me see. Coronation. Yeah, I don't remember the title. I didn't even think I was going to talk about her, so that's why I didn't have it ready. But yeah, she's a trip. Jeannie Bond. Yeah, I think it's Jeannie Bond. And she's just as bad as the rest of them. Oh, but I am very upset about what they tried to do to Dr. Shola, or what they're trying to do to Dr. Shola. Not that we would believe a word of it. Huh. Oh, there she is. There she is. I found it. Okay, here's Piranha Face.
Watch it, go to the beach, do something else. You have a choice. A lot of people are going to enjoy it. And I would just say about Camilla that I sat with Diana in her drawing room and talked about Camilla. And Camilla, in Diana's view, had been loyal, discreet, and deserved some form of recognition. Well, she's going to get it on Saturday.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what she just said? She said Okay, let me do that again in case you haven't seen
Take part,
this.
you don't have to watch it. Go to the beach, do something else. You have a choice. A lot of people are going to enjoy it. And I would just say about Camilla that I sat with Diana in her drawing room and talked about Camilla. And Camilla, in Diana's view, had been loyal, discreet, and deserved some form of recognition. Well, she's going to get it on Saturday. Well, she's going to get it on Saturday. Well, she's going to get it on Saturday.
She certainly is. She definitely got it, didn't she?
Well, she's going to get it on Saturday.
Thank you, Lord. So yes, that's who Jeannie Bond. That's the one. That's the one. She's the one who came up with that cock and bull story. Okay, another episode of Cosplay Kate. Another episode of Copy Kate. Well, when Kate heard about the Crown Act, she didn't want to be left out. So, as you can see, Kate decided that she would go and get some cornrows of her own so that she can identify with everybody else for the Crown Act Day. So, okay. And then, of course, the cornrows, she was at an event and she got obsessed with the person's hair, this young lady's hair. And so, as you can see, even while the rest of the people were talking and stuff, she just kept cutting her eyes over there. I got to get that hair. I got to get that hair. I got to must appropriate. And so, next thing you know, there she was with her cornrows appropriating black hair. And of course, if you guys remember this, also during Black History Month, the Middleton Five, yeah, they're appropriating the Jackson Five, of course, the Middleton Five. And of course, by the end of Black History Month, there she was with her finger waves. So she just can't leave black hair alone. She always had to copy off of somebody. So there she is with her finger waves down there at the when she lost half the Commonwealth. And then, of course, there she is with some more of those finger waves. Well, that's our Katie, always copying off of somebody. Can't never leave well enough alone. So, oh, and by the way, one more from Afro Annie. Right on. All right. Right on, Afro Annie. Well, someone says the braids are too tight. The thing is, if you're Kate, you want the braids to be tight for obvious reasons. The tighter the braids, the less airbrushing is required. Amen. So you want them to be kind of snatched real tight. Got to snatch that hard. So I'm going to end today with some beautiful illustrations on the Crown Act Day of the classic, beautiful black hair. Now look at how they used to do it back in ancient times. As you can see, in the early days of photography, black women were captured with their hair in various styles of that era. let's see. YM Joyce says, don't forget the time Kate accidentally threw up a gangster sign, trying to explain the early years and how banks work. Exactly. Some of those. Let me see. I may have one of those. Let me see if I have one handy. Because she does that sometimes, where she'll be trying to explain something, and then all of a sudden, see what I mean? She started throwing up them signs. And then sometimes it even gets so contagious that William started doing it, not to lose face. So. Oh man, thank you, YM Joy. So yeah, there's some historic images that I thought I would share. And there's something. They had a lot of buttons back in those days, but this has got to be like the 1850s, 1860s. Look at how they were dressed. And of course, there was no such thing as off the rack clothing. All of this was handmade. All of this bespoke fashion. Check that out. Now, is that the first girls group or what? But yeah, cute pictures. Cute pictures. I love these. Right? Right? Me too. I love that. Now, people used to wonder why people rarely smiled on those old photos. One of the reasons why it didn't make sense to smile is because the shutters, the exposure was so long that you had to stay still. So when you look at the eyes, sometimes the eyes look kind of glassy and blurry. That's why, it's because the long exposure. A lot of these, the image is on glass. It's on a glass slide rather than an actual film. And so in the early days of photography, you had to stand still as much as possible. Oh, thank you, Lorna Williams. In those days, they were signs of wealth since they were so expensive. Thank you. Thank you. And that explains why Mumbles likes a lot of buttons, because they family ain't got no money, right? The Middletons are po. I mean, po. They so poor they can't afford the art. They're po. And so Kate wears a lot of buttons to compensate. Thank you so much for that. And here, moving to the modern age, you can see, I forgot who that lady is, but I think she was the last surviving somebody from something, and I don't remember. But oh well. So just thought I would share those with you. I love this one right here, of course. This is by some photographer, don't remember who, but this is a high fashion model, which just goes to show, as I said, Black is beautiful. And what really makes me sad is that sometimes there are some occasions when we don't remind our own Black people how beautiful they are. That is really sad. You hear other people tell them that they're beautiful, and we don't say it enough to each other. So that really makes me sad. So happy Crown Act Day. And of course, y'all remember this one from a while ago. I shared that. I don't remember where I got it from, but I think it is one of those AI inspired or created photos. And lastly, happy Crown Act Day to our queens. Of course, nobody could feather their hair like our Queen of Hearts. I remember back in the 80s, George Michaels, Aretha Franklin, and a few other people could feather that hair, but nobody could jack that hair up like Princess Diana. She had the mother of all feathers. Even Oprah used to have a little bouncy hair. All right. Oh, thank you, Lydia. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes. She's that model from South Sudan, right? I forgot what her name is. I forgot what her name is, but yes, this is the one that she's speaking of. Very, very, very nice. Okay, and thank you, everybody. Thank you for your very generous contributions. Thank you to the moderators for keeping this a safe space. Thank you all for staying up late or waking up early. I ain't making no promises. I might be up again all night. I feel more creative at night. And I made a video about the speech that was given by the King of the Netherlands, Willem Alexander, the speech apologizing for slavery. So if you haven't seen it, please make sure you go and find it and watch it. It is very, very inspiring. Yeah, and I know I looked at the comments and there were like people, okay, what about the reparations? And all I can say is, what about a start? We got to start someplace. And yeah, we got to start someplace. I am for the reparations because I think it's only fair for all of the blood, sweat, and tears, not to mention the lives that were lost, my ancestors included. But I also believe in starting from someplace. So, okay. There's the name right there. Is it Adu Akek? Thank you. I think that's the name. I was thinking something with a heavy K, and I didn't know, but I'm pretty sure that that's the name. I knew it was a heavy K somewhere. Yellow Rose Tea is here. Yellow Rose Tea. You're wrong for them braids. Listen, Kate is very insecure and very fragile, and she doesn't like being left out of things. So if this is her way of trying to identify with her future subjects, oh man. If this is her way of identifying with her future subjects, then que sera, sera. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Oh, thank you, Lady T. I like to make it form. I like to make it fun and yet informative. I do my best. Yeah. So you guys don't be mad at me if I'm late. I mean, but I take this very serious. Today I was just sleeping a lot, but I try to do my best every time. I really do. Yellow Rose T says, Baron, you're wrong for the finger waves. Well, thank you. And thank you for those super chats. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Maggie Howell. Thank you so much for being here. Let me see. Was wondering if Tampon King. Well, nah, certainly not. Certainly not. I don't think so. Yes, happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. It is the Independence Day creeping in on us. Thank you, Lorna Williams. Good night, Big Mama. All right. Love you guys. And our last word for the day is bye, everyone. Have a great 4th of July. Thanks, Baron, and the Mod Squads. Thank you, Lorna Williams. So that's it for tonight. Thank you so much. And let me see. The Ginger Avenger. That's what I got to do. All right. Last look. Good night, Connie Bomber. Next week, I'm back home. All right. Okay, you guys. I want to cue Ginger Avenger. I will see you all tomorrow. Earlier, I hope. And go, Ginger. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Oh, yes, you're right, Marsha. It is time to fade to black. There we go. Fading, fading,